Welcome into the Pick a Side podcast. Shea Norling with Tyler Aki. As always, we've got NFL playoffs. We've got college football semifinals. We are available on YouTube, as always, youtube.com/@PickASideESPN. Hit that subscribe button, like a video. It does help us out. Also available wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe there. Tyler, how are you?
I'm tremendous, and we're going to be out on Friday as well.
That's
at
true.
115 Bourbon Street, 12 to 2. Waddle and Sylvia will be out there after us, too, so come on out. All brought to you by our friends at Yingling.
Way to throw it down. I hit you for the alley-oop.
Yep.
You threw it down.
That
It
was
very nice.
Wade to
LeBron.
LeBron. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right. So before we get into the plays, because we got games, we're going to give you plays. And I do have plays on most of the games that just not going to be talked out of because I've already bet them. I want to get to all of it. But first, I want to do just like general sports talk stuff with a couple things that I'm not sure we're going to have time to talk about this weekend. We will be on 9 to 11 on Saturday, College Tailgate. We will also be on 11 to 1. 1 to 3 on Saturday with the playoff spectacular right here on ESPN Chicago. And I don't know if these things are going to make the cut because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 days that we're going to have to talk about. And obviously Bears-Packers is going to dominate a lot of the conversation.
Yes.
So I have NFL, I have college football, and I have college basketball.
Ooh, all right.
One topic of each. I will let you choose the order.
All right.
How you'd like to address these.
Let's go the exact order you gave them.
All right. NFL off the top. John Harbaugh, gone.
Mm-hmm.
You put it well on Waddle and Sylvie. How many coaches would you fire to hire John Harbaugh?
Okay. Let me pull up the list of teams.
I almost think it's more interesting if you do the inverse.
Of who you wouldn't?
How many coaches would you not fire?
Okay.
How many coaches are you 100% sticking with your guns versus an opportunity to replace him with John Harbaugh?
Now, here's the tricky part with it is there's a process in football.
Yep.
And I get that there's back channels and stuff like that, but we've seen coaching hires fall through, and we've seen guys bait and switch too, or maybe they go into someone else's building and are just wowed by the experience. So New England, I'm not firing Vrabel. I think that's a pretty easy one right there.
Yep.
Buffalo,
Agreed.
Unless you win a Super Bowl this year, I think I would move on from Sean McDermott.
Okay, now that's interesting. Where I would push back would be, is John Harbaugh the coach you want to hire?
I know that John Harbaugh's, I get it's a long-ass time ago at this point, but he's won a Super Bowl. He has had far more success. And I think what this team needs is more of a CEO style instead of like either a CEO or a
Offensive caller.
mind to be their head coach right now. Because what I look at with Buffalo is every single year it feels like it's pinned on Sean McDermott because the defense sucks. Well, why don't you go get John Harbaugh, who at this point, he's got so much tenure and credibility within the league.
Yeah.
He can attract the best DC. He can attract the best OC that's out there. They may end up not executing properly, but I know I'm going to get the best of the best to come in and coach with John Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think I would do it too. And the big part is like the problem in Baltimore was less can John Harbaugh do it, which I think seeped in at the end. Mm-hmm. The blown leads, the consistent, like your team knows how to lose, they don't know how to win. That does feel like a coaching issue. But there's also, I don't know if Lamar can get the job done. I know Josh Allen can get the job done.
Yeah.
So that's like one box that I don't have to worry about checking. If John Harbaugh's the head coach, just tighten up special teams, tighten up the defense, and let's go.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you there. All right, next, Miami.
Yeah,
I would fire
no-brainer.
McDaniel in a heartbeat.
No-brainer.
Aaron Glenn, yes,
No-brainer.
absolutely, I would fire. Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh is interesting because you're probably at this point just shuffling chairs on the Titanic deck. But to me, I would say it's negligible. I don't feel strongly either way. I think if I were to put my Steelers hat on, if I was a fan, I would say yes because like we can call it what it is. The Ravens have been better than the Steelers. I know that the Steelers got the best of the Ravens this year, but the Ravens have been better than the Steelers over the course of the last 5 or so years. So I would probably do it. I think it'd be a really weird thing, but I don't think anything really changes wholeheartedly there.
I think it's a flush or a wash. Like, if I'm Pittsburgh and I'm moving on from Tomlin, I want to go totally fresh, totally new. First-time head coach. Like, let's just, if we got to bottom out and find a quarterback, I do want an offensive mind there. I just don't think it's the right fit.
Yeah. Cincinnati, I would.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a no-brainer again.
I think so, too. I mean, I know Zach Taylor's been to a Super Bowl and all that, but I look at what – and now, I said this yesterday, too. The Brown family ain't ponying up what it's going to cost for John Harbaugh.
No.
They're not. But if we were to take money out of the equation and simply – or maybe they were really going to dive into it, I think that would be a big-time upgrade for Cincinnati. I just don't think they'd ever do it. Jacksonville, Liam Cohen, no. Houston, D'Amico Ryans, no. Indy and Shane Steichen's an interesting one.
I'm thinking a little bit about Houston, too, but the more I think about it,
I mean,
D'Amico has the same problems that I think Harbaugh has in the micro of game management. Like, neither of them are particularly good at clock management,
he has
game
won
management.
The division, what, 3 years in a row now, and this year he didn't win the division but won 12 games.
And honestly, where I think D'Amico's got the cheat code is defensive play calling. Like, it just he's elite.
Yes, 100%. I think that's part of that's the difference between like a D'Amico Ryans and a Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott, I think nothing of the defense. With D'Amico Ryans, I know I'm going to have an elite unit.
I really think nothing of Sean McDermott at all. I think if you gave him any quarterback other than an actual superhero alien, he'd be viewed as a nothing. Yeah. The Colts are interesting because I don't think Steichen's the problem. I think Chris Ballard's the problem. So am I getting rid of Chris Ballard to get John Harbaugh? Like, my question with the Colts has long been, what does Chris Ballard have to do to get fired?
Yeah.
You fucked up on quarterback not once, not twice, but really 3 times.
I mean, since Andrew Luck.
Like Luck retired on you. There's not a lot you could do. But then you went the route of Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers reclamation projects, and you blew it on Anthony Richardson. How are you not fired?
Yeah. No, it makes no sense. I mean, to get that many quarterback cracks at it and even like head coach cracks at it is nothing short of miraculous. I agree with you. Like, I think Steichen can be good. Like,
I think we saw it this year.
Isn't he kind of like, in my eyes, I look at it as almost a Kevin O'Connell light.
Yeah.
He's never been given like the cream of the crop quarterback situation to work with, but it feels like he squeezes every last drop out of that team.
Yep.
So, and smaller sample size too, but yeah. Tennessee did fire the coach. I'm not firing Sean Payton. I'm not swapping Jim for John.
Nope.
In LA, I'm not firing Andy Reid.
Nope.
Vegas did fire. Philly, I think I would. Because what Philly needs is stability. And I think John Harbaugh brings stability, not this completely opposite end of the spectrum day-to-day experience that Nick Sirianni brings. I mean, you're talking about one day he's at a 10, another day he's at a 3. I don't know what I'm going to get with Nick Sirianni day-to-day. And I think if you brought stability to that Philly locker room, we'd be talking about them as a juggernaut for years to come.
It would depend to me on what happens in this playoff run. Like, if they lose to San Francisco, then all bets are off. You can do whatever you want. But if they go to an NFC title game or they go to another Super Bowl, forget it. Like, at some point, we're going to have to acknowledge maybe Sirianni is really good at this, and it's just not going to look that pretty all the time.
But is he almost – do you think the Philly's a team that wins in spite of their head coach? Like, that roster is loaded.
I know, but isn't it a little bit of what you were talking about the other day where, like, we always choose one person to get all the credit and one person gets none of it?
Yeah.
A little bit like Detroit with Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, where Dan Campbell always got the short end of the stick.
But I do think I think I can assign proper blame in this case when I see Nick Sirianni make some of the fourth down decisions that he makes.
No, it's fair.
And I see the ingredients that he's given to play with.
You know, I agree with you. Here's the issue. And like, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. How is it any different than what John Harbaugh's been in Baltimore the last 5 years, other than at least Sirianni actually got the job done? Because John Harbaugh has had all-time rosters. This year he ended the season with the best roster in the sport per every prognosticator. They were the Super Bowl favorite. Certainly the last couple of years. They had a historic defense 2 years ago with Mike McDonald. They held Patrick Mahomes to 13 points in their own building in an AFC title game and still lost. So to me, it's like Harbaugh and Sirianni, the last 5 years, Harbaugh's got the longer and better resume, but the last 5 years, it's kind of the same guy.
Yeah.
And like fourth down decision making's terrible on both sides often. Clock management's terrible on both sides often. But at least Sirianni won a title.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Dallas, I'm not firing Shoddy.
I think that's fascinating.
I'm kind of in on Shoddy.
I am too, but I still think I'd replace him with John Harbaugh.
You'd be paying a lot of coaches right now. And Harbaugh ain't cheap either. I get it's not my money.
That's fair.
But
in a vacuum, I think if you offer me John Harbaugh or Brian Schottenheimer, I would hire John Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Now, I get that there's the risk of you have to fire Shoddy without the guarantee you're getting John Harbaugh.
I think with Shoddy, to go 7-9-1, and you trade the best non-quarterback right before the season ends, and in the last game, you pull your quarterback after he gets the passing record for the franchise, like, you really kind of, in my eyes, went 8-1 because you were winning that game against the Giants for the good bulk of it. So until you pulled all your guys, I'd probably stick with Shoddy. I'd at least be fascinated to see where that goes. He's younger too. Like Harbaugh, how much longer is he going to do this?
Fair.
Is he like
62, I think.
62?
Yeah.
So he's probably got what, like
7 years.
more than 7-8 years. So, all right. Dan Quinn.
I think this is the one that's going to happen if anybody's going to do it.
So you think they may be one of the teams?
I think if there's any team that's going to do it, I think Washington's the team.
Right in their backyard too.
Yep. And Josh Harris ownership shown a level of like, we've got to get this right. We're willing to spend some money. If any team's going to do it, Washington's the one I've kind of pinned in my mind. Is like they'll whack Dan Quinn, get John Harbaugh in there.
I will say this though, if you need a DC,
you hire Dan Quinn in a heartbeat. Yeah, no kidding.
Or even if you need a head coach, I don't think Dan Quinn's an awful head coach either. He's not.
And it would be an unfair ending to his second stint. So I think he would get another bite.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he would easily get a third stint out of that. All right, let's see. I'm not firing Ben Johnson. I'm not firing LaFleur. I'm really not firing, I don't think, anybody in the NFC North.
Yeah, I looked at it too. I think LaFleur is the only one I would even consider it with.
I don't even think I'd consider it with.
And even then, I still come out leaning LaFleur. The North, I think, is just set. They all have the coach they want. They're good to go.
Canales, I don't think I'm doing it.
Really?
I get that was a rinky-dink way to do it, but he did win a division. And this team is not like, this is year 2 of Dave Canales. I think he's made progress with the quarterback. They may not have their quarterback of the future either.
True.
At least let him handpick a quarterback and go from there.
Part of it, I think, is if I'm bringing in John Harbaugh, I'm not doing it so we can develop a new quarterback.
No.
I want a quarterback in place.
Todd Bowles is an interesting one.
Done. No-brainer.
I just think I think Bowles has done a good job with like hiring coordinators, which is something that's really tough to do, especially offensive coordinators. He's found some good ones. It may not work with Grizzard, but he can move on, and his track record shows he can probably find a good one. And if they have a good offensive coordinator, I think this thing works.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth scrapping it to bring in John Harbaugh.
And again, it might be guys who have, like I mentioned with Sirianni, or like I mentioned with who was the other one I said they got the same issues? Maybe it was just Sirianni. A lot of the same, or D'Amico Ryans, a lot of the same problems. Game management stuff bothers me, but everything else is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's fine. I wouldn't fight you too hard on it.
New Orleans, I thought Kellen Moore actually did a really good job this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't
All
replace.
things considered.
I wouldn't replace
You had
Kellen
a top
Moore.
10 defense. You clearly started to develop a quarterback. You finished a game away from being like a game out after looking like you were going to be the worst team in football this season. So I thought Kellen Moore actually did a really good job. It's going to get lost in the shuffle because of what Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson and Vrabel all did this year among first-year head coaches. But Kellen Moore may have been fourth in that crop, but that is not a shameful fourth to be.
And that's the list because nobody in the NFC West is getting replaced. That might be the three best coaches in football.
Yep.
Mike McDonald, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. They might just be the three best coaches in the league.
For sure.
So you're not replacing them with John Harbaugh. But I wanted to go through it because I thought it was interesting. So now college football next.
College football.
The sport's dead. What the DeMond Williams thing? What the fuck?
That is, and
How can you? So for people who aren't aware, I'll just set the table on it. Damon Williams, quarterback at UW, had a nice year this year under Jed Fish. Won the LA Bowl, passed for over 3,000 yards, showed some viability in the offense, just like legitimacy at UW that you were building towards next year. Maybe we can contend to win the Big Ten. Then he signs a deal that Pete Thamel reports is near the top of the market. It's a revenue share agreement with Washington where he will get whatever the top of the market means. But you assume it's between $3 and $5 million.
There was the report from The Athletic this week of what it costs for a quarterback, and it said any quarterback in the Power Four is making between $1 to $4 million. And if it's among the top, he's closer to 4 than he is to 2.
Right. So we would assume at minimum, because he might not get Brendan Sorsby money, but we would assume at minimum you're paying $4 million for Damon Williams. Mm-hmm. So 3 days later, Damon Williams says, joke's on you guys, I'm hitting the portal. Mm-hmm. And now UW is suing him because...
Well, and then they're not granting his release.
Correct. They aren't going to grant his release in the portal. He went in with a do not contact tag, which tells you, hey, Lane Kiffin got on the phone. Yeah. Like, if I'm reading the tea leaves, Lane Kiffin called Damon Williams' phone and said, what are they paying you? I'll double it.
Especially after Bryce Underwood announced he's going to stay at Michigan.
Yep. All these quarterbacks Lane thought he could get. Trinidad Chambliss isn't leaving Ole Miss if he gets the eligibility. Yep. All these quarterbacks he thought he could get. Now all the Ole Miss kids hate him. Mm-hmm. And Bryce Underwood doesn't want anything to do with LSU. He's going to stay at Michigan. So you're in panic mode. So you call up Damon Williams after he signs a deal at Washington, and you say, well, how much money do I need for you to break this? That's what I think happened. I'm not reporting. It's just what I think happened. And Damon Williams goes, cool, and hits the portal. How can you sign a contract with a school on a rev share agreement and then hit the portal 4 days later? Yeah. And how can anybody then look at me and say I've been wrong the whole time where I've said, I don't get how you can be a passionate college football fan anymore because your team is just hired guns and they could leave you at any moment. Nobody cares about being a part of your school, your brand, your team, none of it.
Yep. It's weak leadership that the NCAA and the college football playoff have over this entire thing. It's what it is. It's tough to see. It's like instances like that. A lot of the other stuff didn't bother me as much, and I just think there needs to be hard and fast rules with the portal, hard and fast rules with the amount of eligibility you get, and hard and fast rules with NIL, because it's gotten to a point where it is completely out of hand.
I think they just need to, I don't know why they refused. What was it, a year, 2 years ago? When our student-athletes employees things came up again, and the NCAA again refused to label them employees. They went with the student-athlete tag again. Just call them employees, because then you can have them sign legally binding contracts.
Yeah,
give them benefits. Make them full-time employees of the university. Do it. Just do it. It has to get done at some point. Otherwise, we're going to keep living in this world, and eventually you'll have fans that don't care about the sport anymore, mixed with donors and boosters who realize, I don't want to spend $5 million every year to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
This isn't what I want to do.
At some point, I think the NIL bubble bursts to a degree, where it's just like, yeah, I'm not paying this guy this X number of dollars for him to bail on me after a year. I think that bubble pops at a certain point, and we may be closer than we think.
Yeah, but my worry is when it does, the sport will already be so far gone that whatever ends up happening after the fact will be some kind of unrecognizable amalgamation of what it used to be.
The next 3 years in terms of like the guidelines that get put in place might be, and I hate saying this, we hear it all the time, like, oh, this is like the most important coaching hire in franchise history. This is the most important election in our lifetime. But like the next 3 years might be the most important 3 years for college football if it wants to have any sort of like credibility moving forward.
Yep. All right, college basketball.
All right. It shocked me that you had a college.
The last thing on the list, and this one is fun, I promise.
Okay.
So yesterday I was on social media and I saw a post from, I think it was FanDuel. Mm-hmm. Michigan, who is undefeated currently, and if you haven't been paying attention, with the exception of what happened last night on the road at Penn State, where they won by 2 instead of by 32, they are a fucking wagon.
Yeah.
Anybody in their way just gets shit canned. Mm-hmm. They beat USC by 30 as 21.5-point favorites in a ranked matchup. They detonate everybody in their way.
Yeah.
So FanDuel put out a hypothetical line. between Michigan and the national championship Kentucky team that went 38-2 with Anthony Davis.
Okay.
They had Michigan as a 4.5-point favorite. Right or wrong? Is this a case of being out over our skis about what Michigan is, or is Michigan this good?
I think Michigan is this. I don't even think that's the best comp, though. Like I probably would have looked at something like one of those UConn teams that won recently. I look at those teams and I say those were, and I think because the way that Kentucky team was constructed, like you had some older players on the team, but it was mostly freshmen, and it was like you were running in waves too with those freshmen. But I look at this Michigan team's got so much experience behind it. And it's like it's not all seniors necessarily, but it's guys who have accomplishment at a bunch of other stops along the way. To me, I would take Michigan in that matchup. Now, if you gave me the UConn, like pick your UConn team, or even I would maybe even say like one of those Nova teams that won. Pick your Nova team that won recently. I think that's a better question than that Kentucky team.
Okay, I do want to offer you a couple comps. The first one I will offer, and I know they didn't win the national title, but the first one I would offer you is the 2021 Gonzaga that went undefeated to the national title.
So that was with Jalen Suggs.
Yep. Drew Timme.
Drew Timme
reset.
Corey Kispert was on that team too. Yep. That was a damn good I mean, that Baylor team was fucking good too.
That was the second one I was going to offer you.
That's
the Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler Baylor team.
Because that team
Maceo Teague.
That team defended their ass off, which is, I mean, it's one of the best defensive teams I think I've seen as a national champion. I would probably take that Gonzaga team and that Baylor team over this Michigan team. But the fact that we're even talking about this Michigan team like that is everything you need to know about how good they are.
One more I want to throw at you. And it's a team I didn't really ruin my life, but at the time it did because I didn't realize what they were. 09 North Carolina.
I thought that's where you were going.
If you're talking senior-led, like obviously Tyler Hansbrough, but also with Danny Green was on that team. That team had 5 NBA players in their starting five.
Ty Lawson on that team,
Ty Lawson was on that team. Michigan, are we like going too far in putting them in that stratosphere?
Well, here's the thing is that you got to show me in the tournament. Because like for as much as I like a lot of these guys that are on this team, it's not like any of them are like these big time tournament heroes that have made these deep runs in the NCAA tournament. Like Yaxel Landenberg is fantastic, but has he made the deep tournament run? No, he didn't. He was at UAB. Elliot Cadeau, I think his tournament runs have been more disappointing than productive. Ade Mara, like he hasn't had this deep tournament run before. So,
but they got Roddy Gale.
They do have Roddy Gale.
And we know last year can go nuts.
And the other part of this, too, is like Dusty May has been to a Final Four before. So I think the leadership is in a good spot. Yeah, I mean, I got to see it in the tournament from this team until if we ultimately want to put them at that level. But I think like I would be thoroughly shocked if this team doesn't get to a Final Four.
Me too. And like I think it's if you've watched them, they play at an insane pace. They're super efficient. I mean, they look NBA level. It looks like what 21 Baylor looked like.
Yeah,
they're nuts. But I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was interesting.
Which is crazy too for this team when it's built with all of these different transfers.
Yeah.
And it's already looking this cohesive this early.
Yeah. But I saw the line and I laughed, so I wanted to bring it up to you here. All right. You want to get to the picks?
Let's do it.
Start with college. We've got 2 college games on the board this weekend, sort of. If you count Thursday as the weekend. Thirsty Thursday kicks it off. Miami and Ole Miss. The point spread's 3.5. The Miami direction. They are favored over Ole Miss, and the total's 52.5. I'm going to just level with you on both games. I'm having a hard time on the point spread in both games.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. But I do feel really good about the total in both games, especially this one. And I love under 52.5.
Yeah, I can get with you there.
I think
like that.
Miami's side of this, Miami's not all that good. particularly offensively.
I think defensively they're a behemoth, but
Offensively, I don't think they're great. They don't run the ball great. Obviously, Beck is good. When he's good, he's like incredible. But when he's being Carson Beck, you're like, what the fuck was that? The problem with Miami is they have the ultimate X factor, where Ruben Bain is going to take your playbook, he's going to throw it in a shredder, and just fucking evaporate the thing. Whatever you want to do offensively, Ruben Bain will not allow you to do it. He's going to destroy your day. I really think this is a spot for Ole Miss. Like, I know I've said this in 2 games now. I think this is a spot for Ole Miss because it's not just Lane that left anymore. Now it's also every assistant coach he was taking with him, with the exception of Charlie Weiss Jr. They're all gone.
I think there's one other guy too, but yeah.
Which is crazy to me. But like, this is becoming a bit of a mass exodus. I get that the players have a chip on their shoulder because they've all taken this like fuck Lane tour kind of thing. I'm openly rooting for Ole Miss, but in the interest of feeling good about the game, I kind of think Miami's going to just put their offense in a cage a little bit.
Yeah.
And can Miami win a race to 17, 20 points? Probably. Am I comfortable laying 3.5 on a game I feel that way about? No. But then I look at the total and I go, 52.5. How the fuck are we getting there?
Yeah.
And I think everybody's looked at Ole Miss's offense and gone, no, I can score with anybody, so just bet them. Because, look, both Georgia games, they went way over. The Tulane game went over, at least on Ole Miss's side. Now you got this spot where, hey, Trinidad Chambliss is playing as good as any quarterback we've seen in a while on a playoff run. Let's just ride the wave. They'll score a bunch of points. I kind of think that comes to an end here. And I don't love Miami to be super points productive. So I just landed on under 52.5.
Yeah, I like the Miami side in here. And to be honest, I do like where your head's at with the total as well. Like, let's not forget, and I think this Ole Miss team is very good, but at the end of the day, their defense is still the weakness of this team.
Yeah.
I think they're not going to provide enough resistance against this Miami group. And I'm not saying that Miami's going to go out and drop 30 on them. I don't think that's going to be the case. But I just have so much respect for what this Miami defense is. Like, it is an elite group. They haven't allowed more than 20 points since November 1st. And even in that game, there was an overtime touchdown and a touchdown that was a result of a 28-yard drive because of a turnover. So this team is really, like, is just kind of choking out a lot of these offenses. And there's some good offenses that they've played along the way, including Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, completely choked out that Ohio State offense. So I like Miami and the points in this game. And I'm with you. I'm rooting for Ole Miss. I want to see this end in a Ole Miss championship. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think at this point they are the weakest of the 4 teams. But when you're one of the final 4 teams, you've had a damn successful season.
Yeah, I agree with everything said. I would lean Miami. Maybe I'm biased a little bit because I am rooting for Ole Miss to win the game, where I don't want to have my money on the Miami side. And it's not like I'm a huge Ole Miss fan where I'm doing some emotional hedge either. But it's just like, I think points are going to be at a premium, and you're asking me to lay 3.5. It's a little much for me if I think points are going to be that rich to get. So I just landed on under. But I agree with everything you said about Miami and everything you said about Ole Miss. And I think anybody that's discounting Miami at this point, I mean, I'm kicking myself because it is one of those teams where I think I let the bias against Cristobal and against Beck blind me a little bit going into this, where if you just took an honest appraisal of the roster at the start of the playoff and you to look at their defense and their front 7, which is an NFL front 7, you might have come away with like, we should just dart them to win the championship.
Yeah. I will say, I never thought they were going to beat Ohio State.
I didn't either.
So that was the hurdle that was, to me,
I thought they might cover. I never thought they'd win the
they'd
game.
outright win the game. And let alone lead wire to wire as well.
And just dominate Ohio State, really. All right, Oregon, Indiana, the Peach Bowl. Super exciting game, to be honest with you. Rematch from earlier. It's
10-point final last time. That doesn't tell the story.
It's clearly the 2 cream of the crop Big Ten teams. I think that's more than fair to say at this point. Now that Ohio State's been eliminated, Oregon, Ohio State had the same record in the regular season. The difference, Oregon lost to Indiana in the regular season, and Ohio State didn't play them in the regular season. But they both took L's to the same squad. Now Oregon gets a chance to exact vengeance. Point spread's 3.5, total's 47. I had the exact same feeling here. I love Indiana. And I do kind of think Indiana might just be one of those teams where you can ride them with the public. They're good enough that they'll just dog walk everybody.
Like the Detroit Lions last year.
Yeah, like they're going to be the Chiefs for a while. They're going to be public, but they're also going to win and cover a lot.
Yeah.
I just laying 3 and a hook. The more I look at it, and the more I see how public Indiana is, and how many people I respect are on the Oregon side, and then I start looking into the game, and I'm like, it really is. Yeah, I can say that Oregon's offense struggles when they go against a good defense, which Indiana has. Indiana's going to fuck up Oregon's plans with their pass rush. I could say the same thing about Oregon.
Yeah.
Defensively, this is like Dan Lanning's calling card is we're going to win the line of scrimmage, and they've done it all year. And what they did to Texas Tech, I get that they feasted on 5 turnovers and they didn't score a whole lot, but they also owned the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And I think you're going to have an opportunity, maybe not to own it, but at least make it a wash. I, again, landed on an under 47.5 here.
Okay. So I went back and I rewatched this game from earlier in the year last night, and the one thing that I took away from was everything Indiana did to find victory in this game looked very effortful. And I felt like everything that Oregon was doing in this game was kind of effortless. Like Oregon and the athletes that they have, like they out-athleted Indiana for all 60 minutes in this game. And credit to Indiana, they ended up winning the game.
Yep.
A couple critical mistakes, couple turnovers from Dante Moore, and that was the difference in the game. But remember, Fernando Mendoza threw a pick 6 in this game.
Yep.
And I look at the amount of blitzing that needed to be done by Indiana to get to Dante Moore and make his life uncomfortable. I think Will Stein can craft a game plan for this the second time around. I think Oregon is very live to win this game in a rematch here because the athletes that they have on defense and just the speed and power and finesse that they can work with offensively, Dante Moore's ability to throw the deep ball. Like if you're not pressuring Dante Moore, these receivers are going to outrun these Indiana DBs, and it's a very talented Indiana DB room. So I landed on Oregon plus 3.5. I think if you're going to give me the hook, I'm going to take it.
It really is. Everything that you just said is kind of the same way I felt too. And if you do go back and watch, I mean, the 2 Dante Moore interceptions, you can't rely on that if you're Indiana.
One was batted and the other was late in the game when you could pin your ears back. You knew you had to throw.
And it was really the batted interception changed the game.
Yep.
You can't rely on turnovers and takeaways. And I get like this is neutral site. It's not at Autzen. I'm not taking anything away from what Indiana accomplished. But if you're asking me to lay 3 and a hook with the public, I need to feel a lot better about Indiana's ability to just win this game. And I feel way more comfortable. Like, doesn't it kind of feel, last one was 30-20. Doesn't this one feel closer to like you take the pick 6 away and it's 30-13? And you're sitting there at 43 points. The total's 47.5.
Yeah.
And I think this game to me screams a little bit more of what Ohio State, Indiana was in the Big Ten title, where it might be 13-10.
Yeah,
it might be
like,
17-14.
Yeah, 20-17, something like that.
Like it's going to feel more like a Sunday game because both lines of scrimmage are so good.
Yes.
And I came away like I just feel like this is an under.
Yeah. And Daly played a big part of that Indiana win over Oregon, too. He ain't going to be out there.
No.
On that defensive line.
Look, you can next man up it all you want, and I think to a point Indiana's going to do that. Look, and what they did to Bama, the other part of this is the bigger part, too. You've got a 3.5-point spread that opened at 4.5 and has ticked down despite the public being all over Indiana a week after what they did to Bama. And I think that's the part that really just in the gambling sphere scares the shit out of me. That this team went out and housed the preeminent brand in college football. The team like your most casual fan just assumes is the best in the country. Indiana took them and threw them in a dumpster.
Yeah.
And now a week later, everybody's betting them, but the point spread's ticking down. What does that tell you? Oregon's probably the side to be on here.
Yeah.
I haven't respected Oregon enough all year. This isn't a spot where I'm going to pivot on it. Points are going to be at a premium. I'm taking the under.
Yeah. No, I think that's the difference between you and me is I've given in Oregon. I like Oregon a lot more than you do.
For sure.
Over the course of the season. So that's probably why I'm on Oregon and you just lean Oregon.
All right, NFL, got a lot left to do. We'll start. This will probably be one of the quicker games we can talk about. Saturday, 3:30, Rams, Panthers, totals 46.5. Point spread, 10.5. Rams are laying 10.5 points on the road. And before you look at the spread and just go, I get 10 points in a playoff game, double-digit favorites win and cover at an unbelievable rate in the playoffs.
I straight up pass for me.
I agree. It would be Rams, though. If you made me bet it, it would be Rams.
I will say it's looking like it's going to be a little rainy in Carolina for the game, so that makes me say maybe not. So it's just a flat-out pass for me. I don't even think it's like a Rams or pass or a Panthers or pass for me. It's just a strict pass.
Yeah, I had no bet on the game yet. Laying 10.5 is always kind of It's not a place I want to live necessarily. But if you made me bet the game, Rams laying 10.5 is the way I would go. That's really all I have to say. I think the Rams are much better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
We all know the Panthers are here because the Falcons did their dirty work.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't handle it themselves. Atlanta went out and did it for them, and now you get to play a playoff game at home. It is two things, though, because it's a something's got to give game. Mm-hmm. Double-digit favorites in the wild card round, in the playoffs actually, in the history of the playoffs, double-digit favorites are 64-14 straight up.
Wow.
That said, Carolina has the fourth worst point differential of any playoff team in history. The three teams worse than them all won their opening round playoff game.
To be honest, when you said 14, like the team has won 14 times, even that felt high to me. It did.
What felt really high to me was the fact that we've had 78 instances of a double-digit favorite in the playoffs.
Yeah, and gambling data only goes back so far.
Right, like that's crazy to me. All right, that's it for the LA and Carolina game. Green Bay, Chicago, Saturday night, what everybody wants to talk about. I think it's the game of the weekend. The rivalry.
Yep.
Just this is what you want. Primetime, Soldier Field, even if it's on a streamer, at least locally, we'll have it on Fox.
Yep.
I think it's fascinating the way that the point spread has looked all week, where it opened Green Bay laying 1.5, flipped almost immediately to Bears laying 1.5, and then as the week has gone on, it's now feeling more or less stabilized at Green Bay laying 1.5. Like everybody reality checked into, okay, we got to get this back on the other side of 0. But the other reality is, we're talking about straddling 0.
Yeah.
There is no, you're not gaining or losing any value.
I think the best way to look at who is truly favored in this game is just look at the money line.
Yeah.
Because the money line tells the story. All of these 1.5s have been super juiced. Whether the Bears are favored, whether the Packers are favored, they've been super juiced, and it's just play the money line in this game.
The Packers have been a very short favorite on the money line all week. Mm-hmm. It's like -112 to -108 is about where it's been balanced.
105, yeah.
If you made me play it, I think it would be the Pack. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to root for it. I don't want it to happen. I just have stayed away from it. I do want to have a play on the game, though.
Okay, I have one. It's not a side; it's a total. I like under 45.5.
Okay, good. I was really scared you were going to say over.
No, I look at what the Bears did against this team the last time this was at Soldier Field, and you can say, oh, it's fluky, like no team's going to go 0 for 5 in the red zone. You know, the Bears at home are the second best red zone defense. Mm-hmm. The red zone defense for the season is 15th, but it's because they're second best at home, and they're 31st on the road. They have one of the worst road red zone defenses, so at least you get this game at home, where they have stood tall against some of these teams. You get the crowd into it. You know the crowd's going to be into this game.
Yep.
If they ain't into this game, then surrender your tickets now. And then I'm looking at the weather for this game, too. I'm viewing this as a pretty run-heavy script. You could have some rain. You could have some significant rain, in fact. And then the wind, I think, is going to play a factor as well. You get Jordan Love coming off of not playing for a couple games, too. I don't think that, he's going to have to shake off some rust pretty quickly. And then I don't know what Caleb Williams is going to look like in start number 1 in the playoffs. And if Ben Johnson runs the game plan that I think he should run, it should be let's punch him in the face with the run game because we saw what Derrick Henry did a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Yeah, I feel the same way because it's not even like I don't think both offenses will score. It's remember the first quarter, Packers, Bears, first quarter at Soldier Field. the clock in the first quarter was gone after each of their first possessions. There were 3 total possessions in that quarter. We played a 7-possession game. Even if you're scoring on 60% of your possessions, you aren't sniffing 45 and a half. And honestly, it comes down to the way the Bears are going to have to win is limiting possessions. I think, one, the Packers are going to try to do it to the Bears by just doing short passing, screen games, staying on the field, move the chains, and keep the Bears' offense off the field. And the Bears know they have to do it to the Packers. This is just a time of possession war. And I think anytime you have that kind of game, under's the way to go. The added juice is public's on the over.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Jags-Bills kicking off the day on Sunday. If you still feel the way that you felt about it earlier in the week, I hate to say, we're going head-to-head.
All right. Josh Allen Bowl, by the way.
It is the Josh Hines Allen
yeah.
against Josh Allen. I found a pick, and the point spread right now, laying 1.5 if you're Buffalo. Again, it's semi-juiced, less so than Packers-Bears. You're not getting the crazy big numbers you were on the spread. But I found a straight pick 'em, and I'm taking Bill's pick. And honestly, the rationale is you go down there, you run the ball with James Cook. Same thing as the Bears. You limit the game. And frankly, if Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen lose this game,
it'll be his last game as a head coach of the Bills.
It's just it would be totally inexplicable that this is the end of their run, where you knock on the door every year. You have the quarterback. Again, nobody has played better in the playoffs than Josh Allen since Josh Allen entered the league. And we have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because of the Super Bowl victories in Patrick Mahomes. In that same span, nobody statistically is even close to Josh Allen. There is an aspect of, we'll do a little more on this with a different quarterback in a minute. There is an aspect of this guy just turns it on when it gets to be this time of year. They change the way they play offense. Like all year, they're limiting how much they use Josh Allen. But once you get here, Joe Brady knows, Josh knows, Sean McDermott knows, we're taking the leash off. This guy has to win it for us, all 4 quarters. And I've lived and died with this team for the last 3 years. So one more time, why not?
All right. Here, I'll give you the rationale for why I like the Jaguars here. I just think you look at what Josh Allen has done this year, and he's been fantastic. However, there is one significant place where he has regressed, and it is his sack percentage.
I know.
He has one of the 5 highest sack percentage jumps in all of football. And this is a pass rush that's going to ramp up. And when you've got a quarterback that's been taking more sacks like this, you get behind the sticks. I don't love that. My lone concern is if Josh Allen is going to really utilize his legs in this game. I think that could spell trouble for Jacksonville because they haven't been very good against running quarterbacks. But this Jacksonville team is 7-1 against the spread and straight up at home. Their only loss was to Seattle on a short week after playing Kansas City. Early in the season when Kansas City was still Kansas City. So I just think this team's been so damn good at home. And I think that Jacksonville's got the coaching advantage too, and they've got the momentum advantage. That's for damn sure as well.
Now, a part of his sack percentage going up is because it was like a historic low a year ago. He took 14 sacks all of last season. He's taken 40 this year. But the problem is it's the highest sack rate since his rookie season. And if you've watched the games, it's the one thing that's just mystified me about Josh Allen. They're really horrible sacks.
He's taking some of like the Burrow sacks that you and I are like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
There are multiple times. And they explain it away a lot on the broadcast as like Collinsworth was doing it. Or not Collinsworth, Romo was doing it in Bills Eagles. And whoever the fuck it was, Brady maybe, if Bills Eagles are like, okay, well, when you get to third down, Josh just goes superhero mode and he has to make a play. It's like, but the play you make cannot be the worst fucking sack I've ever seen. And that's what he's done all year. Because at first I saw the sack rate jump, and I'm like, well, didn't he get sacked like 9 times in the Houston game? That probably plays a part, and it certainly does. But again, you get sacked that many times in a single game where your offense isn't any good. And it's not like I can blame the O-line because they have the 3rd best run game in the league.
No, it's concerning. It is. And I think it might be what, especially in the AFC, where you're going to have to go through teams like Jacksonville, potentially the Chargers, potentially the Broncos and the Texans, like, I don't think that this Buffalo team's for long with all of those pass rushes.
Yeah, I don't know if they have staying power for the whole thing, but I think they can win this one. And maybe it's just because I love Josh Allen.
Yeah,
but
as
like,
you should.
am I wrong to just feel like calendars flip to January? This guy's going to turn it on.
I don't listen. The point spread's 1.5 for a reason. It's 1.5 for a reason. So it's a coin flip game.
All right, 3:30 Sunday, Eagles, Niners. This is the second quarterback I wanted to talk about. With calendar flips to January, and you kind of got to look at things differently. Jalen Hurts been underwhelming all season, but boy, is January his month. This is the time where you just go, playoff Jalen Hurts might exist. The other thing that stands out to me here, ain't nobody betting the Eagles. No one.
Love it.
Earth is betting the Niners. So why has the point spread gone from 3.5 to 4.5 in favor of Philly? Nobody's betting them. Why would the line move that much? It's because the smart people are betting Philly. Yeah. Everybody looks at Philly publicly and just says, offense terrible. Defense hasn't been what it's been all year. They're getting healthy now, but it hasn't been vintage. Dude, I think the Eagles are going to just rock the Niners. This is a quad bomb. It is my only playoff quad bomb of the week. I love the Eagles this week against San Francisco. The other part of it, if you want like the geeky football, last week, go back and watch what the Seahawks did to just shut down the Niners offense. Because it was less like, oh, Niners are due for a letdown here. They've been running so hot. It was more, Mike McDonald just threw a nickel out there the whole game, and they had no answer for it. What do you think Vic Fangio's going to do?
Yeah, well, I think the other part, too, and I love Philly. I'm with you. I'm on Philly as well in this game. The other part with Philly is this defense has been night and day since they've gotten Jalen Carter back.
Yep.
And if you're going to have that level of interior pressure against Brock Purdy, you're going to force him to not be able to step through and follow through on some of these throws. That's going to lead to some interceptions. The back end of the Philly defense has been good. And on the flip side, like offensively for Philly, yeah, the run game hasn't been anything special or to write home about this year. But no pressure from the San Francisco defense is going to be a huge problem in this game. The worst in the league in getting to the quarterback. And when you look at Hurts when he's got a clean pocket, right? Like Hurts under pressure, I don't love. I think he's terrible under pressure. But against San Francisco, when he's not going to face pressure very much, like he's third in ADOT, average depth of target, when he is kept clean. If you let these plays develop for Philly, you can only contain A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert for so damn long. At a certain point, if you let those guys run free against an absolute JV squad out there in the defensive backfield, and now you lost Fred Warner's replacement, who was playing pretty well for you too, I think that there's just too many injuries on the San Francisco side that's going to allow them to have any sort of success against Philly. I'm with you. I love Philly in the game.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot for Philly's offense and a really, really difficult spot having to travel cross country against a Vic Fangio defense. Yeah, just this feels like the last thing in the world that the Niners wanted. Yeah. And it takes nothing away from what Kyle Shanahan accomplished all season. The fact that they're here is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like winning 12 games with the injuries that they sustained is fucking incredible.
That's why I think he's Coach of the Year this year, in a year where this is maybe the best Coach of the Year race we've seen in recent memory. Any other team in the league that would have sustained the injuries that they did, like the caliber of injuries that they did, they would be doing draft prep. And I'm not talking about like, oh, are we like 14th or 16th? No, we'd be talking about, all right, you're drafting 7th or you're drafting 5th right now. Who are you taking? That's not what's happening.
I want to just break in with the news that's erupting in our group chat. Yeah, Cubs traded for Edward Cabrera. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, they're finalizing stuff with medicals.
That would have been nice at the fucking deadline.
That's not it. Well,
that's all I have to say. That would have been really fucking nice 6 months ago. And that's my thoughts on the trade.
My thought is this. I'm not actually, you know what? I'm going to withhold comment until I see what the return is.
Fair.
Because Edward Cabrera, to me, is a good pitcher, but I liken him to like a 20-point per game guy in the NBA. There's a lot of Edward Cabreras out there.
You know how I feel. All right, move the drill. Chargers, Patriots. Chargers getting 3.5 at home, totals 40. Chargers getting 3.5 on the road, totals 46. Do I dip into a second quad bomb this week?
Oh, wow.
Because this is
I have a lean in this game, but I think my lean is where your quad bomb could be going.
this is my second favorite play of the week. And it is, again, just I'm fading the public a little bit, and I'm also fading everything I know about football, where there's a little bit of this in the Bears game, too, which, like, if you just do history throughout the playoffs, if I took Bears-Packers and I told you take the names away from the teams, take what you know about the season away from them, and I told you have the first team in 16 years to be a division champion despite having a losing record in their own division, and the team before them that did that got trucked by Baltimore in 2010, the Chiefs, or they're the first team since 2010 to lead the league in takeaways and also have the fewest turnovers, and the last team to do that was 2010 Patriots, who got beat by the Jets in the wild card round. Like that, there are things that are like, okay, we have some red flags here. No different with New England. One, you have a quarterback who has never been to the playoffs before, debuting against a very experienced quarterback and a very experienced head coach. Red flag 1. Red flag 2, you played the easiest schedule in the NFL in 30 years on a factual basis.
Yes.
You have played 3 playoff teams all year. One of them because you played them twice. Like, I come away from this like, do the Patriots really deserve to be flipping 3.5 to anybody in a playoff game?
Well, I think the other part, too, you've only faced 2 top 10 defenses. This is going to be one of the best defenses you face all season on the other side in the Chargers.
I'm not taking away anything Drake May has accomplished this year, anything Mike Vrabel accomplished this year, but there's a context and a nuance to how you got there. And then you have to ask yourself when you look into all of it, is it believable that now you're stepping up in class and leveling up in the types of games you're going to be playing, when you're playing them, and who they're playing against? Is that a spot where you really want to flip 3.5 with that team?
And I get that there's injuries on the Chargers side, injuries that are not going to be fixed on that offensive line, but they've just kind of moved the drill.
They haven't had Joe Alt since like September,
Yeah,
and they just keep winning.
I think the other part with the Chargers, too, is people don't realize this. That team went 5-1 in the West, and the only team that they lost to was Week 18 when they sat everyone because they were like, you know what? We cannot afford any more injuries. So we're going to sit everyone, and if we're the 7 seed, we're the 7 seed, so be it. I lean with you. I think it's Chargers, and if you're going to dip all the way in and you're going to dive headfirst into it, I'll join you.
That hook is attractive. And I have to tell you, the fact that everybody's betting New England, too, it's one of the more public sides of the week, and you can't get me out to 4. It's telling me something.
Here's the other part, too, of this, all right? Like, if we're just going to do matchup analysis here, because I think New England has certain advantages, or maybe, like, have the perception that they have advantages in certain areas, but I don't think it may be by as much if they even have the advantages in these certain areas. Let's start. Head coach, who's got the advantage?
Oh, dude, Chargers.
And I think the public
I
perception...
I love Vrabel,
Yeah.
but dude, I respect Jim Harbaugh at the NFL level so much.
But I think the public perception out there is, oh, Mike Vrabel's going to win Coach of the Year. They've got the coaching advantage. Who's got the quarterback advantage in this game? Justin Herbert's played in a couple of these, and this season, Drake May's been the better quarterback. There's no doubt about that. But first time in the playoffs, and even if you want to say Drake May has the quarterback advantage, which I'll cede to you, what's the disparity? Like, is it that great where we think like, oh yeah, Drake May could win MVP? There's a chance of that. But Justin Herbert is fucking good, man. And like that, the gap between May and Herbert, I don't think is that big.
No, and I think what Drake May has accomplished, you mentioned they haven't played top 10 defenses. They played a historically easy schedule. It's great, but he takes so many sacks. And so much of the production is coming on explosives. The Chargers are not going to let you get those explosives where like you're just converting on 50-yard deep balls. If he wins MVP, it will be because of the body of work. But the body of work, when you're talking about predicting what this looks like against a real defense in a playoff game, has to include he's going to take the 5 worst sacks you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And his offensive line, like you want to talk advantages, offensive line might be a wash because Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are not going to play.
If Alton Slater are in there, A, this Chargers team isn't the 7th seed, and B, you're probably looking at a game that's closer to a pick'em, like one of these 1.5s that we're seeing pop.
I think the Chargers would be favored. Honestly, if I'll put it this way, if Alton Slater don't get hurt this year, I don't even think the Chargers are playing this week.
I would probably agree with you.
Because they are awaiting the winner of this game, which might actually be like Denver and New England instead.
Yeah.
That's how impactful those injuries are. And the fact that like we've looked at this for weeks and said the Chargers can't keep doing this, and then they just keep doing it. Mm-hmm. It speaks to what Justin Herbert's been able to do despite the offense, and why Jim Harbaugh says weird shit about him every week. Like he's an Ethan Hunt. Like he's been that good.
He's a monolith.
I'm going to ask you one question, and then it'll lead me. Is this more likely to go to 4 or 3?
Probably 3.
All right, quad bomb.
All right.
That's all I needed to hear.
Okay.
If I'm getting the best of the number, I'm willing to do it
Yeah.
because I'm north of 3 right now. I don't think New England's winning by margin. Hopefully, this isn't what happened to me all the fucking first part of the year when I kept saying, I'll lose if Drake May's who he's been, and then he just fucking was.
Yeah.
But I'll fade New England one more time.
All right.
And then Monday Night Football, Houston and Pittsburgh. Houston's laying 3. The total's 39.5. I haven't made a play yet, and I may not make a play today. But if understand, this is my lean is Houston. Mm-hmm. If you're betting Houston, you are walking against 2 of the greatest trends in the history of the NFL. Mike Tomlin has never lost, ever, on a home Monday night game.
Yeah.
12-0.
It's nuts.
Mike Tomlin is also basically the greatest coach in history when getting points at home.
Yes.
Then there's the flip side of Mike Tomlin. Of the coaches who have coached at least 20 playoff games, by margin, Mike Tomlin has the worst winning percentage. And then there's the football aspect of, I just watched Aaron Rodgers go up against a great pass rush when he was in Cleveland, and he couldn't do anything about it. And like, he is a little bit of a statue. Even against Baltimore, that opportunity he had to run for a first down, and he just went out of bounds.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that guy anymore. And if you got Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson bearing down on you, and you're 42 years old, and you just got to rip back shoulders, yeah, DK might catch a couple. He's not going to get them all. And a couple of them might get picked off because it's not like DK's running against some bum-ass corner. That's Derek Stingley. Like, I just – Houston is so good.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know how I feel about Houston. I think that they are probably my favorite team to bet to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
I agree.
Year. We've got the ticket on them to win the AFC. However, I do think Pittsburgh is the worst possible first-round matchup they could have drawn.
I kind of agree.
Because if they game plan this thing out, you look at all right, you want to talk about Rodgers being a statue. So is CJ Stroud.
Yep.
And if the pass rush looks like what it did against Baltimore for Pittsburgh, they're going to get Stroud to the ground a couple times. Are they going to burn past guys like Ramsey and in their secondary? Yeah. This Houston offense could, but what do we always see from the Houston offense? Like the first drive or two, they look awesome. Deep ball here, long sustained drive here. But then the water turns off. Like we saw it against the Chargers. And I wonder if this Pittsburgh pass rush can get to CJ Stroud, they can make life difficult. And on top of that, too, I think that what Pittsburgh can do offensively, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be sexy what they do. But if you can run screens and run at these pass rushers, you can win this game, especially at home.
It's the biggest fear I have for Houston. Because, look, the rest of the AFC, I do think it's an offensive environment where you can just kind of big body, line up, and go after them. And there have been some stats out that, like, Houston adjusts what they do defensively less than any team in the league. It's basically line up, and we're fucking better than you. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just –
They are.
They are. We're just going to win. Like, it's cool as hell. If you watch it, they're awesome. But it is – of all the teams, Pittsburgh's the one that's going to have the most quick release, that they're going to play you the most horizontal. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to game plan this in a way where you, on any given down, you're leaving either Will Anderson or Danielle Hunter unblocked in a decision-making position where Rodgers has a quick release valve. And whatever you think of Rodgers physically, mentally, he's still there.
Yeah.
Like if you just give him little quick release options against unblocked edges, he can make the right decision.
Sneaky thing too. I think the guy who should be most happy that they're playing Monday is Rodgers, because
long rest.
I mean, he's a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. You give him an extra day, not to prepare per se. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the most prepared guy walking on this field of anyone. But you give him an extra day to physically recover from that game against Baltimore, I think is pretty critical.
Yep.
And you don't have to travel at all week to week. I think it's big.
All right. I'm not going to bet the game yet, but I may bet Houston if I have a good weekend or if I just feel better about the game. Like, honestly, it's ticking down, too, as I think a lot of stuff comes in on the riding the Steeler train. If a 2.5 flashes at any point this weekend, I'm betting Houston.
Yeah.
If I can get it inside a field goal.
I say this could be like the Iowa State game where if it's 2.5, I
Bet
like
Houston. If it's 3.5,
I like Pittsburgh.
yeah, it could be. We'll see what happens on Monday morning. We'll get back with it when we do the recap for all this stuff. But as it stands, my plays for the weekend, unders in both college football semifinals, under in Bears-Packers. I'm going to play the Bills on a pick. Eagles laying 4.5 is a quad bomb, and Chargers getting 3.5 is also a quad bomb because you bullied me.
Bullying works. College football playoff, I got Miami as a 3.5-point favorite. I like Oregon as a 3.5-point dog. And then in the NFL playoffs, I'm with you, under 45.5 on Bears-Packers. We're going head-to-head. I like Jacksonville plus the 1.5. Hey, maybe Buffalo wins by 1, right? And then I like San Francisco, or I like Philly with you as a 4.5-point favorite. And I like the Chargers getting 3.5 against New England.
That'll do it for us. For Tyler Aki, I'm Shea Norling. This is the Pick a Side podcast. We'll see you Monday with a recap edition.